When the children arrived in England from the concentration camps, they'd come from places like Auschwitz and Theresienstadt, terrible places, some of the most nightmarish places you could ever imagine. And they came here. This is Lake Windermere. And when I was writing the book after the war, I visited both places. I visited the Auschwitz and I also visited the Lake District to describe the places. And when you're writing a story, if you're describing a place, it's a good way of reflecting a mood and what sort of things that the people are going through. So here in the Lake District, this is one of the first mornings the children are at the Calgarth estate, and they're by the lake. Yossi, Leo and Mordecai come down to the lake and they're starting to relax and enjoy being in this country. Obviously there's a lot of dark things going on in their minds, but they are starting to enjoy some of the pleasures of the Lake District like this, and I wanted to capture this in this chapter. And this captures the contrast, really, I think, between the two. Having cycled round the estate, the boys found their way to the lake. Windermere was a huge expanse of water, stretching for what seemed like miles in each direction. The sun had come out again and was sparkling off the surface. Yossi lay on his back, his hands behind his head, staring at the swallows flitting down to catch birds above the water. He remembered birds behaving this way at the lake, where he used to go on holiday with his parents and sisters. Behind him, Mordecai was trying to read an English paper called the Westmoreland Gazette that he had picked up during his first days at Calgarth, and Leo was working on a bicycle he'd been riding. He discovered that the brakes were broken. Using the spool of wire he'd found on the Sterling bomber, he'd managed to fix them. Now he was testing the brakes and whistling to himself. Yossi's attention skipped from the lake to a buzzard that was hovering high over a field over the shore. Again, he felt a rush of pleasure being by this lake. "Do you remember?" he asked, his mind on swallows and buzzards. "There were no birds. I've missed birds." "Where were there no birds?" Mordecai asked. "There," Yossi said, "in the camps. There were no plants, no trees, no grass. So why would birds come? We'd eaten all the plants and grass." The silence that met Yossi's question made him recoil. Leo continued to work on his bicycle. Mordecai stared back at his newspaper, and Yossi knew he had to change the subject. Why would his friends want to talk about that? So I suppose what I wanted to do with that was describe what it was like here in the Lake District and kind of contrast that with the setting of the concentration camps and the appalling places these children had come from. And that's what the story is. It's about, it's from Auschwitz to Ambleside is the subtitle. And a lot of the boys, who are many of them old men and some women now, they'll say it was like coming from hell to heaven. And this is the heaven that they came to. And so that's why I come to places like Lake Windermere here, to make sure I get my my descriptions of the setting right, because I think it's really important.